In recent years, several colleges in this region have stepped up their game when it comes to alternative energy use and efficiency. Now, 5 New England liberal arts colleges, 4 from this region, have joined together to create a solar power facility that will offset much of their collective electrical use. I sat down with energy experts from Williams, Amherst, and Smith colleges to learn more.
Well, we each have greenhouse gas emissions reduction goals, and I think we've all known each other for a while professionally, and we just talk about the various challenges and struggles and what we're working on. And through those discussions, we just started thinking about the idea of what would happen if we tried to tackle renewable energy together rather than separately. And the real interest we had was trying to magnify our impact, essentially, and trying to do more than any one of us could do alone. And we're all fairly similar organizations, and that gave us some confidence that we'd be able to pull it off, though anytime you do a collaborative project, there's a lot of cat herding, we like to say. Because we are similar and we have similar structures, we were fairly confident.
But still, it took about 2 years to get the project together, right? Is that because you're 5 different organizations trying to agree on one way to do something, or what was the 2-year process? What did you go through during those 2 years?
I think that was a little bit of it. I mean, I think once you get 5 colleges and universities together and trying to match calendars, that just adds time to the process. But really, we didn't want to assume that a collaboration was going to be the best choice. We wanted to investigate whether collaborating together would be able to, as Amy said, kind of increase our scale and our impact, or could we do the same thing individually, and therefore maybe that was the better way to go. So I think that's what added some time to the process. We had some consultants help us figure out what different projects we could consider, what different structures we could consider for the projects, and whether collaborating would really achieve our goals.
Let's look at the sort of the nuts and bolts of the projects to help people understand what exactly this will do. They hear, 5,000 homes worth of energy or 46,000 megawatts of energy, but when you're here in Massachusetts and the solar project that you all will be accessing is in Maine, how does that help what you're doing here in Massachusetts?
So the New England grid is operated as sort of a single system. Sometimes we think of it as a bathtub, and it's full of water. And there are lots of places where water is being added to the bathtub, and there's places where people are pulling water out of the bathtub. And essentially you have to keep the load level. So energy, when it's marketed, electricity, when it's marketed, it's done, there's 2 components. One is the actual electrons, which really just flow into the grid, into the bathtub. And then there's something called renewable energy credits, which are an attribute that tells people that the power is actually from a renewable source. And in this case, what we're purchasing are those renewable energy credits so that we can claim that the electricity we're using is coming from a solar source. And we've made an agreement, a long-term agreement with the producer that helps build that facility.
And so this will be a brand new facility in Maine that the 5 different entities are using, tapping into. Why Maine?
I get that question a lot from our local community. And as Laura said, we did a lot of looking throughout the 2-year process. And we looked at local possibilities, really local in terms of on our campuses or in our communities. And then we sort of looked a little bit more broadly and looked in Massachusetts, and then started looking a little bit more broadly than that. And some of it has to do with the readiness of the grid infrastructure to actually take more renewable energy projects. And so the local grid infrastructure needs to be physically capable of taking the projects, and then also the utility needs to give permission for those projects to be connected to the grid. And certainly at Williams, we are having real troubles getting that interconnection agreement locally. And so we started looking further afield, and Maine was essentially the closest project that we had fair certainty would actually happen.
Now, in terms of the organization of the groups working together, this marks the first time that a group of colleges or universities have worked together in this way. Why do you think you're the first? There's lots of people working toward different renewable energy goals.
We're not the first group of colleges to come together. There has been, at least we're aware of, in Washington, D.C., American University, George Washington Medical Campus, I believe, and one other, came together and purchased a renewable energy project together. We're certainly the first in our region that we're aware of, and the first kind of 5 small liberal arts schools that are coming together on this project. But you're right, there's renewable happening everywhere, and part of that is because we are lucky to live in a state and a region that has strong renewable energy portfolio standards and a lot of renewable energy activity happening to help address climate change.
I think that sustainability work has fairly deep in its DNA collaboration, and that sustainability or lack thereof is a really complex, complicated problem. And in order to get any progress on it, at least we know that people have to work together, organizations have to work together. And so I think there's just a strong tendency to have collaboration to begin with, and in some ways, we as sustainability professionals were able to lead our organizations to be more cooperative. Because yes, there are some parts of the organization for whom it was new, it was different, it was a little bit scary, but we were always there essentially with the comfort level that we have with each other, saying, no, really, we can do this, it'll work out.
And we had a suspicion at the beginning that working together, that the scale was going to help. And actually, that idea proved to be true.
In what way? How did it help?
Well,
It helped get better rates for you all? What did it do?
We wouldn't really have even been able to access. It was less about the price that we ultimately are paying, but it was more about just that we needed to be larger in order to...
They actually wanted you using more electricity.
We needed to be larger to appear to a certain set of developers. So we needed to be bigger, and none of us on our own could have done this.
Now, in terms of the 20-year scope of the project, it locks in the rates that you all pay for the next 20 years. But then what happens after that 20 years? Does this just go out of commission, or do you renegotiate a contract? What happens? Question marks. To be continued.
So the solar panels are likely to endure.
Yeah.
Typically, they have they often commercially are thought to have a roughly 20-year lifetime. It turns out that they're lasting a lot longer than that they're pretty robust. We'll have to probably contract for new electricity. It could be from that facility or it could be from another facility. I think by that time, the market's going to have evolved and we're going to be able to do this in a way that won't take us 2 years.
We can hope.
And looking at each of the different colleges and universities who are taking part in this, you each have, the 3 of you sitting here, have this concept of being net neutral when it comes to energy use. Is that right? And so help people understand what that means at home. It's just an idea. It's not necessarily that you won't be drawing electricity from the grid, right? You're just going to offset it in some way, like through this project.
Oh, that's interesting, because there's actually a lot of conversation about what carbon neutrality or net neutral or any of these other terms mean. And one of the professors who works at Smith actually recently came to Williams and posed a really great question of, you should think about using carbon neutrality as a tool for making the changes that society needs to make rather than sort of an end in and of itself. And so when we think about carbon neutrality, we think about we need to use as little energy on campus as possible. And there's a lot of question as to how to do that and what that means. And then once we use as little as possible on campus, then we need to think about where that energy is coming from. And that's where a project like this comes in, that we're shifting our electricity to a zero emission source. And then after you think about those 2 pieces, then you have the piece of the puzzle that you might think about doing what's called carbon offsetting projects, where you pay for a project somewhere other than on your campus in order to reduce emissions. And we're also working on another collaborative project thinking about what those sorts of projects would look like in the local community. Because currently a lot of those projects happen abroad. But we're interested in the idea and the thought about is there a benefit to doing them locally, and what would that look like?
Excellent. Well, I look forward to learning more about that. Thanks for coming in today.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.